Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to attempt to repair this headset. This is a Turtle Beach and the model is the Air Force Recon. And basically what happened was I was editing a video on my main PC, I forgot these were on my head, the doorbell went, I got up out of the chair to answer the door and these ripped off my head, and in doing so what I did is I completely bent this 3.5mm jack, so it was bent all the way over there. Now I did get pliers and bend it back into place and it worked if I wiggled it around for about another week or two, but now it's gone really bad. It's only coming out of one speaker and also the mic isn't working either. So if I plug this in here, I've got it coming out of my right earphone, but I've got nothing coming out of the left one, and also the microphone's not working either. Then when I wiggle this, the sound will go and then the sound will come back again. So I definitely know that it's definitely the jack plug that's gone. Also the microphone's gone as well, because if I say hey Cortana, it doesn't recognise it, yet when I unplug that now, just put it on mute, hey Cortana. And there you go, it's come up there with the Cortana. So what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to attempt to change this plug at the end. Now these plugs here are called 3.5mm plugs or 3.5mm jacks. The reason they're called 3.5mm is because the width of them is 3.5mm. On your headphones you will probably have a 3.5mm, but often you can also get headphones with 2.5mm, especially now if you were using ones on maybe the Xbox 360 controller. Now 2.5mm, you can see the size difference. So the one on the right is 3.5 and the one on the left is 2.5. And again 2.5mm just means the width there. The other thing you need to look for is whether it's 4-pole or 3-pole. So if you have a look at the one that's broken, this one here, it's 4-pole. So I've got the tip and then I've got 1, 2, 3 other sections there. Now I've had a quick look on the internet and it's not clear what it is, but often it's this one here. You have this as the left audio, this as the right audio, this one here will be the ground, and this one here will be the microphone. So that's a 4-pole plug. So what I had to buy was a 3.5mm 4-pole plug, which is this one here. You can see it looks exactly the same. Now this particular one was from CPC, and that's the model number if you're interested in it. They're not expensive, we're only talking £1 or £2, so it's very cheap. If your headphones only have 3 poles, it means they haven't got a microphone on them. So you would have your, for example, your left audio, your right audio, and your ground there. So that's why you haven't got the other one for the mic. So you need to see what headphones you're repairing and then you need to order accordingly. So this one here is a 2.5mm 3-pole plug. This is a 3.5mm 4-pole plug. Don't worry if it's gold or nickel, it really doesn't make any difference. Right, okay, so this is the diagram. Now online, apparently other Turtle Beach headsets have the green wire go into the tip here, and then you've got the red one go into this section. You've got a blue and copper twist, so that's blue and ground, go into this section, and then the microphone to this one here. Now I have done a little bit of soldering throughout my life, not much. The problem is I haven't got an expensive soldering iron. This one here is a dirt cheap soldering iron, it only costs under £10, and the problem I think I'm going to run into is the tip on this is actually very big, so you can see there, although it does go to a point, it's still got a big tip on it. And if we were to have a look at the jack in here, you just have to unscrew it. They're not the best here because when you screw it in, they could have a tendency, if you were to yank that out, to just rip the thread out of it there. So it's not the best plug, but still it's very cheap. So now if you have a look, this is what I'm going to struggle with. So if you look in here, you can see the bit that's not on my thumb there. I have to solder onto these bits here, and the clamp here is going to be fine. That should be okay. That one I'm going to struggle with, and that tiny one there I'm really going to struggle with. But I give it a go because right now the headset is actually useless and worthless. But if it doesn't work, what I can do is I can cut the lead and I can try and splice on another cable to it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting this jack off, and I need to verify what goes where. So I've got my little multimeter here, and all I'm going to be doing is a continuity test. So for example, when I cut it open, I can put this one at the ends here, and then as you can see, when I touch the wires together, it makes the sound. So when I get the correct wire in here and I touch it, it's going to make the sound. So then I can write down the colour of that wire. Then I go on to the next one, again find the wire, write down the colour. Then I go on to that third section, again find a wire, touch it, and then the last one, find the wire and touch it. And then hopefully once I write all that down, I will then know what goes where. Right, okay, so hopefully you understand now what 3.5mm and 2.5mm plugs are, and 3-pole and 4-pole. So right now I'm going to get on with the soldering. A lot of this video is going to be fast forwarded through because it's just going to take me too long to do it in real time, but I will stop at the key parts and show you the different things. Right, so first things first, I'm going to cut the end of the connector here. I'm not going to do it too high up because otherwise I'm going to really shorten the length off the lead. So I'm going to cut it here, and that will still give me plenty of lead this side. It should be enough there. As long as I do 2 or 3 inches, it should be enough for me to cut back these wires and tone it out and find out what goes where. Okay, so I've stripped that back there. It looks like a really nicely made cable. Right, so we've got plenty of string there. I presume the string's just to strengthen up the cable, because otherwise these wires would stretch over time. So the string's probably there to stop them from stretching. Right, so I'm just trying to free all the wires from the string so I can actually see what I've got left. So what I'm thinking is here then, I'm thinking that possibly the green is going to be the left, so the very end of it here, the tip. I'm thinking the red is going to be the right one, the right audio, which is this one here. The ground looks like it's going to be this one here, the copper one, and this one here, the white one, I think might be the end one for the microphone. And what I need to do is I actually need to go right the way through the plug. So I'm going to continue to cut, because remember, it wasn't working. So I know that these wires, there's only one of them that's connected, the other, the mic, and I presume the ground is probably connected as well. But I will need to go right the way through here to do a visual inspection as well, because somewhere along here there is a break, because every time I wiggle it, it works and stops working. So I'm going to keep cutting. Right, as you can see, I've nearly got that rubber boot off it. There we go. So you can just see inside there where all the wires are connected. And there you see them all. Right, I can't strip it back anymore because this is just too hard to get rid of. It's rock hard plastic, has obviously been melted in there. And also in doing all the cutting and stuff, I've also now cut the green wire as well. So I'm going to find it very hard to prove which one that is. It's just going to be a process of elimination if I can prove the other ones. Now, when you go to do your testing from, for example, the tip or one of the rings to here, it's not going to work because these wires, although they feel like they're metal, remember they're all bunched together, so there's actually got insulation on them, and I think it's some kind of like enamel or some sort of insulation on it that you have to burn off. Now there's different ways of doing it, but I find the best way is just to actually burn it off. So make sure you've got a window open, a door open. I've got a cup of water here, so if the whole thing does go on fire, I can throw it in there. If you're worried about burning your fingers, you know, you can hold it like that and then get the flame under it. So I'm just going to show you this one now. I'm going to do the one that I think is the microphone, so this red and green one here. So with this microphone one, I'm just going to take this insulation around the white wire, because I presume the white wire is going to be the actual microphone, and then this red and green wire is going to be like the ground, the shielding for it. So I'm going to show you what happens. Now obviously you do this at your own risk. Anything wrong, I'm going to dip it in here. See, it goes up pretty quick. You can see the smoke coming up, so don't breathe that in either. And now I'm going to do the white wire, and that's burning the outside insulation and it's leaving the copper on the inside. So now, can you see at the very end, you can see the copper glowing, but it's not on fire anymore. It's this bit here, the insulation around that goes on fire. There we go. So the copper now is glowing red, so I know that's pure copper at the end there. And now I've got a wet damp tissue here. I'm just going to clean it off to get rid of all that charring on it. So I've got my multimeter set to continuity, and now you can hear when I touch the wires together, it goes off. And now I'm going to put one wire onto this very end of the white wire, and now I'm going to go across here to see where it beeps. There you go. See that one there? So I know now that this end one here is definitely the white wire. So I'm just going to scribble that down here, and that is what the internet said. So it says white. So I'm definitely sure that that is the white one. So I'm going to put a tick next to it. Now I need to go through all the others. So nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. And then I've got it there. So I definitely know now that the green is the tip, and that corresponds to here as well. So I now know that the tip is green, this one here is white, but I'm still not sure about which one is the ground and which one is the red. But that's easy for me to see now, because it's going to be hard to see on the camera, but if you look closely here, I can see clearly that that wire, the white wire, is going to here. So that bit corresponds to there. Then as we go to this bit here, it corresponds to the next one. And the next one, to me, looks like it's green and red to there. And then I can clearly see that green is the smallest one, and we know that that's the tip. So red is the next one, so it has to be there now. So I'm now confident that it's green, red and green, and also the pure gold one, and then white. So that's what I'm going to write down. That's what I'm going to have to do. So I'm now going to strip back the good bit of the cable, and now I'm going to burn the edges off. I'm going to leave myself plenty of spare wire, and I'm going to solder it up as so. And then I'm now really happy that this is definitely correct. Okay, so now we're going to do the headphone side of the cable. So what we need to do is we need to undo this strain relief boot, and we need to make sure we put this on the cable first, because we don't want to solder this on to realise then that we haven't put this on, because you can't put it on afterwards. So I'm just going to put this to the very back out of the way, and now I'm going to strip this back. Okay, so we're done there now with the green, and if you have a look, you can actually see the nice difference we've got between going from green to copper. So if you have a look there closely, you can see it's shiny copper here, but then it goes to green there. So what I've done is I've put a blob of solder on there, so it's easier for me now to melt my green wire onto it. And then I'm also going to put a blob of solder here and here, because trying to solder it onto here, all I'm going to do is end up melting the dividers, and I'm just going to end up with shorts. So I'm just going to put a blob here, and a blob here. So I've put a blob of solder on each of them now, and I just want to do a continuity test to make sure it hasn't shorted anywhere. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to proceed with putting the wires onto each. So it's going to be green on the end one here, then it's going to be red, then it's going to be the ground, so it's going to be the gold wire, and also the red and the green of the microphone, and then the microphone is going to be getting soldered onto this bit here. So first of all, I'm going to solder this green wire onto that first blob there, and you can see I've left a nice loop here so it's not under any strain. So what I've done is, it's not soldered yet, but I did manage to tin the wire. So as you can see now, it's got solder on the actual green wire, so it should go on easier. So that's the first one done. Now I need to do the red one to the next one. Just going to try to tin this wire as well. So that is my green and red soldered. Now I need to do the ground on this one. So I need to do the gold colour wire and also the green and the red wire from around the microphone. So I'm going to twist those both together, melt them, and then put them on that one. Again, I'm going to try and tin the wire. Now, if you were going to be doing a lot of soldering, you would get a magnifying glass with 2 crocodile clips on each side to hold on to the items, so you haven't got to be using a setup like this where you're balancing it in pliers and stuff. Okay, so now I've soldered the 2 ground cables onto there. Now I've just got to put the white cable, this wire here, onto this one here, and this will be the microphone. Right, so that appears to have soldered okay, so now I'm going to cut off that little bit of excess here and then clamp the cable on. I've now got the cable in the clamp and I've given it a little squeeze, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently now wrap this thread around the cable, just very gently to give it a little bit more strength. Now I'm going to get some black insulation tape, some electrician's tape, and basically I'm just going to give it 1 or 2 wraps around it just to firm it up a little bit. And I'm going to go in the same way that I've just put the string, so I'm going to be wrapping the tape that way. Now, a better thing to do would be to use a little bit of a heat shrink, a little heat shrink tube, and then you could just heat that up with a hairdryer or a lighter or a hot air gun, and it would be better than the electrical tape. Okay, so I slid the jack up, screwed it on. Seems actually pretty firm. The reason it feels so firm is because I had a bit of a job getting it over the tape. So I wanted to put the tape on it, but it did make it harder to slide this on, and also I had to cut the tape back a bit because the tape was too big. By the time I got it off the thread there, you can see I had to cut about 3mm or 4mm off it to get it to fit into here. But looks wise, I mean, it's nowhere near as good as it was. The plug that was on it was really well made, and if this gets a few pulls, I'm pretty sure it's just going to break again. But it actually looks pretty good. It's a bit baggy here, so maybe it could do with a bit of glue gun in there, and that would probably make it more secure as well. Right, okay, so this is a little bit later now, and I have actually filled it up with the hot glue gun, and it's actually filled the hole quite nicely. So if you have a look in there now, you can see it's filled it up well. And so now I hope that will make it a little bit stronger and less likely to pull straight out. Okay, so the moment of truth. Let's plug it in here. This jack here is headphones and mic as well. So when I plug this in, Cortana shouldn't work. So let me just show you Cortana working now. Hey Cortana. Right, so basically that's working there because this has got an inbuilt microphone. But when I plug this in, and when I unplug the microphone here, this just says here high volume can cause hearing loss. So I've unplugged this now. So let me just allow that. If I was to say now, hey Cortana, you can see the microphone from the little GPD pocket is not picking me up. So if it works when we plug this in, we know that this microphone is now working. Hey Cortana, what's the weather like in Watford? There you go.
Right now, it's 17 and lightly raining.
And you can also hear that. Let me make sure it's coming through both speakers. Yeah, it's coming through both speakers. So if I, and the inline volume works as well. So if I do it on full, you should be able to hear it coming through that one, the right one. And now the left one. And if I lower it down, hopefully you hear the volume go down. Getting quieter. Now louder. Quieter. And I just want to check the mute on the mic button as well. So right now it is on, so let me turn it to off. Hey Cortana. Hey Cortana. Right, so it's not doing anything. Let me now turn that to on. Hey Cortana. And there you go, it's come up there. Now another way to test your microphone if you don't want to be shouting at Cortana all day is to go down to the speakers and right click. Then go up to playback devices, left click. And then instead of speakers, go up here to recording. And if you have a look now, you can see that the microphone's moving up and down when I talk. And now if I was to hit the kill switch, you know, that mute switch, it will then go to nothing. So I'm going to hit it now. And now, as you can see, there's nothing there at all. And now I'm going to turn it back on, and you will see that it's come back on again. So it appears to be working okay. So I'm happy with that. Actually, it did take an awful lot longer than I thought it would, and it was a lot of hassle. Would I recommend doing it personally? Well, these headphones were only £30, and I think, considering this is going to be nowhere near as good as it was, personally, it probably would be just worth going out and spending another £30 rather than mucking about with this, because it has taken me a long time. If you're really good at soldering, then yeah, you can manage it. Or if you're a bit strapped for cash, then yeah, these are only a couple of pounds and you might already have a soldering iron and solder, but it's definitely not easy. But anyway, I'm happy enough with it. It's working again, and it wasn't working before, so for the time being, it will do. Please don't copy me soldering here, because I'm not very good on soldering. I haven't got the proper equipment. So for example, I was just using a damp tissue. Normally you would have a damp sponge that you can wipe the solder off on your soldering iron, and you would have a proper little station to put your soldering iron into a spring. I haven't got any of that. If you're serious about doing things like this, get yourself a proper kit, and then there's going to be no danger of burning yourself or burning anything else. Also, you're going to have to get a magnifying glass with the 2 crocodile clips to hold things together, because this was just a nightmare trying to balance it in my pliers, and then I've got the shakes on my hand and it was just going everywhere. Also remember, have the windows and doors open if you're soldering. You don't want to breathe in the smoke that comes up. Also, when you're burning the wires back to get to the copper on the inside, again, make sure you don't breathe any of that in, because that could go straight up your nose if you're doing it underneath your face. So do it in a well ventilated room and be sensible about what you're doing. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care, bye now.